Okay, today is February the 26th, 2019, and right now at 10:20 p.m. we have a temperature of 49 degrees here in the foothills of Los Angeles. The relative humidity is 84%. The dew point is 44 degrees, and the barometer is reading 29.95 inches. And today, and the last 4 days straight, we've had moderate to heavy chemtrail aerosol spraying. These specially equipped jets have been up spraying for the past 4 days. Meantime, we've had a opportunity for rain from this tropical flow moving into California and the southwest, into Baja, Mexico, Arizona. The only place getting rain right now is up here in Northern California. So what does that mean? That means that the jets are up spraying, and they have been spraying very intensely today. If we look at the Doppler radar map right now for the California, Nevada, Arizona, and Utah area, we can see that the only area getting rain right now is Northern California and a portion of Central California. And we can see the WSR88D microwave Doppler NEXRAD radars at work, chopping up the precipitation pattern right here near the Sacramento area. We can see the pie-shaped cutouts. And the same thing up here near Fortuna. There's a transmitter right up here near just south of Eureka, chopping up the precipitation. And of course, over several minutes, the precipitation begins to fall again in the area, and this pie-shaped cutout fills in. So these Doppler radar transmitters work dual function. They are marketed as severe weather detection radars, but in fact they are precisely modifying the amount of precipitation in a given area. And these transmitters are located all over the country, and they are managed in part by the Department of Defense. And some people may ask, well, why is the DoD involved in the weather? Well, there's a lot of reasons. One of the reasons is they can avoid oversight by claiming national security, which is exactly what previous President Obama had classified climate change as a national security priority. It had national security status, so that prevents oversight. And of course, when we have weather manipulation like we've been proving in these videos the last 3.5 years, and we see the connection between Wall Street, the weather derivatives markets, and the options and so forth going on, the last thing these people want is to have their cover blown. But that's already happened. They've blown their own cover. The timing of the chemtrail aerosol spraying always coincides with incoming moisture. So what do we see here? There's no precipitation in about half of central California, all the way down to San Diego and beyond. There's no precipitation. Now let's go ahead and look at the western U.S. Infrared map. Here's the water vapor map. Let's start here. We can see all this water vapor from the tropics moving right into Southern California, mainly San Diego and a portion of Los Angeles and also in Ventura. But yet there's zero precipitation on the map, and that is because of the heavy chemtrail aerosol spraying going on. Today was very heavy. This was the heaviest of the spraying days. The last 4 days we had moderate to heavy spraying. Yesterday was not as heavy. The previous 2 days were rather heavy, but today was the worst. And we see why. We have an opportunity for rain. It should be raining today in the entire state. Looking at the infrared map, we can see all this moisture moving right into California and a portion of Mexico and into Arizona. But yet there is zero precipitation anywhere in Arizona. Well, actually, there's a tiny amount down here, mostly on the New Mexico side of the map here, but really nothing in the Arizona area. So that means that Arizona, as well as California, are being sprayed, and we can see that proof in the in the Modus Today map, which is right here. Let's pan over. This is Vandenberg, Point Conception, Vandenberg Air Force Base is right here. And we can see that these aerosols have just been sprayed all over the place. We can see the fresh trails are right here. I don't know if you can see that on the monitor there, but we see these fresh streaks. These are those high-flying jets that are dispensing the mixture, which contains nanoparticulate aluminum, barium, strontium, and several dozen other compounds which are toxic. Aluminum is highly toxic, and we find through J. Marvin Herndon's work, which I have a link on my channel to his channel and his work. He's done a lot of research on these on the composition in these aerosols, and it's on a pretty picture. And so there's an explosion of Alzheimer's disease in the nation, and that is due, in my estimation, from these aerosols being sprayed over the last 25 years. And these aerosols contain aluminum, and of course aluminum is highly toxic. So here we see all the spraying going on today over, this is the Los Angeles area, this is Ventura, Santa Barbara is up here, and we can see these aerosols are sprayed all over. As we pan out over the ocean, we can see the natural clouds. The brilliant white is the natural cloud cover, and of course the chemtrail haze is sprayed high above the weather, and that prevents the lift. We have to have two components for precipitation. We have to have lift in the atmosphere, number one. Number two, we have to have moisture in the atmosphere. So we've got the moisture moving in, and we can see, whoops, wrong map. We can see that moving in right here, and there's the moisture, but there's no lift in the atmosphere. And so that is being caused by these aerosols being sprayed, and that has prevented the lift. Caps the atmosphere. The capping inversion layer prevents the lift. So there it is. Let's look at some of these other maps. We have right here, this is the tropical West Pacific water vapor loop. This is a typhoon with about 105 mile per hour winds. This is Typhoon WUTIP, W-U-T-I-P, right here. And we can see that this storm is being targeted. We can see the pressure waves, blast pattern here along the western edge of that storm. And according to the pressure map, this thing has a pressure of about 1,012 millibar, I believe it is. You can take a look at that. But this is a typhoon in the West Pacific being targeted by a satellite transmitter, and that's what is, they're superheating this storm from the center, and we see the color change, and we see those blast patterns right along that west edge. So this storm is being superheated, and that disrupts the lift in the weather system and prevents this thing from intensifying into a hurricane. There's no eye wall. We can see that there is this entire storm is being disrupted, and that's why we see the pressure waves, the blast pattern, and so forth. All right, let's go take a look at the big map here. This is the water vapor map for the Northeast Pacific, and we have rain scheduled now for Thursday here in Southern California, and as well as Saturday and Sunday. So the weather is always changing. The forecasts are always changing. But as we see, we've got all this moisture moving in, yielding zero precipitation. That's because of the, once again, the heavy chemtrail aerosol spraying, which caps the atmosphere. Looking at this Doppler map, once again, it looks like Northern California is getting a lot of rain. We do have a significant, there is a weather system moving in over the weekend, we're told, which should bring some more significant rain, we're told. That presumably will come from possibly this system here, which it's just hard to say what's going to happen. This is kind of a mess. Looking at the Jetstream map right here, we can see the flow pattern into Northern California, and also there's a tropical pattern into Southern California. We've got the jet stream flowing right over the Hawaiian Islands here. We can see that. Here is the Atlantic. Let's do the Pacific first, and we can see the big picture here. Got that typhoon way down here in the corner, right there. Looks like the pressure is about 1,008 millibar. There it is, 90 knots. That's about 103 or 104 miles per hour. Out here we've got high pressure installed. There's a big weather system here, gale force system. Over here we've got 1,000 millibar low, which is forecasted to move to the northeast. And then we have high pressure installed right here over central and southern California. So that's going to affect any weather that's going to try to move in. We can see that high right there, plus the heavy spraying going on, which is capping the atmosphere. All right. Now the swell report for the East Pacific is right here. We can see some 12-foot swells moving into central California. Compare this map. This is relatively calm compared to the Atlantic. I pulled up the Atlantic map here. This is the swell report for the Atlantic Ocean. And look at this. Right out here, we've got 42-foot swells. This is the average of the highest 1/3 of the swell. So some of these could be as high as 50 feet out here, midway between Europe and the U.S. coast, which is right over here. So there's a lot of very, very high swells out here in the North Atlantic Ocean. Not a good time to be out on a ship. Looking at this is the surface analysis map for the Atlantic. We can see out here we've got a developing storm right here where all those heavy high swells are right here. And we've got a 960 millibar storm right over here near, looks like way up off the Canadian coast. Designated a storm, 960 millibar. All right. Okay, so that's pretty much the report. We should have had rain here just the last 3 days. Of course, we know the timing of the aerosol spraying is key to understanding the purpose of the spraying, the chemtrail spraying. We have high-flying jets that are dispatched and spray the skies ahead of incoming moisture. This is done 24/7, 365. They spray on Christmas Day. We've seen them spraying on Thanksgiving Day. Doesn't matter. And it has nothing to do with sunlight, blocking sunlight, enhancing sunlight. It has nothing to do with that. This is all about regulating precipitation amounts. We've got a weather's derivatives market on Wall Street. That's what it's all about. Controlling the weather, and we've got people betting on the weather. So that's what's going on. Always follow the money. All right, here's some of the, this is the sea level pressure analysis. We can see the situation here. High pressure installed. We've got a lot of jaggy lines here over the western U.S. We've got a closed low pressure system right here, which will be blocked by this high right here. So Southern California probably not get any rain tomorrow. Here's the 500 millibar. We see a closed low up here. Got a lot of jaggy lines here. These lines should be smooth. These isobars should be very smooth. This indicates turbulent activity at the 500 millibar level, which is approximately 18,000 feet. So we see these jaggy lines. That is the ground transmitters manipulating the atmosphere. And that's what's causing these disruptions here. This is turbulent, high and low pressure being forced together right here. So we've got manipulation occurring right there at the 500 millibar level. Here's the 300. You can see the same thing. And we've got this low up here, and we've got another area here, low pressure. Okay, so that's the report, and we'll just leave it right, let's leave it right here. This is Typhoon WUTIP, WUTIP, WUTIP. Okay, that's it.